Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we're going to take a close look at the PX4 3000 plus game support retro game console and 2.4G wireless gamepad. So what you're going to get with this is a quite interesting one, to be honest. Specification wise, nah, not really. They didn't fill in what kind of internal memory or better said SD card. It comes with the Mali 450 MP5, AIM Logic quad core CPU. It's just the same yada yada that we've seen before when you're looking up Super Console X. I really love the box when it comes to the text on it. True 1080p retro game collection, 2.4 wireless gamepads included, and of course multi-retro system in one. Or better said, it's an Android box with MULEC. But let's take a close look in the inside and how good or maybe how bad this thing is. So what I did, I must say that what I did a little bit like about it is how tiny this box is. Can I get it out? Okay, so this box, as you can see over here, like I can hold it between two fingers, that's how tiny it is. So specification wise, it's maybe similar to the Super Console X in some ways, but not the build quality. Like this thing is very tiny. I already mentioned before a couple of times. And USB ports, we do have a micro SD card. Then we do have an HDMI, AV out, IR port, the Ethernet and the input for the 5V. So it's nothing really special. The only thing I really hate about these things, where is the freaking on and off switch? You know, like when you plug it in, it automatically starts up. This comes with a 64 gigabyte, and what I understand of this, like one of the biggest cards it can basically like hold. But let's take a close look at the controller. The controller is the same story that we have seen many times before, especially when you subscribe to the channel. So hit that little bell, subscribe, don't forget that, and give this video a like. But don't like this controller that too much, because it's looking like a PlayStation controller, but it isn't for the quality. So we do have like these shoulder buttons, but they feel really cheap. The same goes with everything, like the joysticks, everything doesn't feel like the real deal. So what you can feel with this version, we do have like shorter travel buttons, or they don't stick out that too much. We have like rubberized joysticks, and the D-pad, it feels way too sturdy. So the quality itself, it's chemical and not very good. Alright, so before I forget, what is more inside the box? So we do get ourselves the HDMI cable. We do get like this weird converter again, like jack to USB, because they are giving us like just a power brick for charging your phone. We have like the USB dongle over here. That was just basically loose, and that's it. Like, I don't know what kind of market it was basically marketed for, but the freaking thing is not even in English. Pointless toilet paper manual with a glossy touch. Alright, so when it's booting up, this is what you're going to get, the PX4 retro game console. So they did make this unique intro logo, but when you're waiting for it, let's wait for it, it will show MULEC. Okay, let's boot it up. Yep, loading. Or it doesn't show any MULEC, but it is MULEC, we know it for sure. So, and now we're going to get the menu here. So let's see if we can mess around with it. Let's take a close look at the menu and just see what we're going to get. But let's take a close look at the menu itself. And what you're going to get is quite fascinating. So first of all, they are not like grabbing an image from the internet and just slapping it on the box and just doing something like that. No, they're actually like bringing something unique, like changing some things. They're still using a kind of piece of software, but they're modifying it, like showing it. It's actually like a game system. That, I think it's quite interesting in my opinion. Yeah, when it comes to the support, it's the same story with most of these boxes. We have up to PlayStation Portable when it comes to emulators. So I think this would be like something of an like ready to go box. When you're pressing start, there are some things that you can like swap out. You can get maybe into the system itself. So that like tinkering, it is possible, but they set up a lot of stuff for you. And I mean, like they added the emulator, stuff like that. So the only thing that you need to do is like drop your files if you want to, and you're ready to go. Okay, so let's start off with some arcade gaming. And what I do like about this piece of hardware is that we're going to get the option to play, of course, with two players. If you're going to get yourself multiple controllers, you basically can go up to 4 players. So when it comes to the gameplay, let's take a close look at that. But I wanted to boot up some N64, and sadly you can see like it still has some errors. And the reason I'm showing you this, I just wanted to show you actually like these things, even they're like plug and play, there will be like some tinkering needed sometimes. Some of the boxes they don't, but this one in particular needs some tinkering. Okay, so next up let's try Cruising the World, and the reason I wanted to try this because you can see that it struggles and also you can hear it. I hope the camera or microphone picks it up because it's like a little bit of a bummer that N64 in my opinion is just a mess. Like I know like a lot of these cheap boxes will have an issue with this, but a game like this should be running fine. So nope, game not booting up, game are running like shit. No, that is not a good thing. Okay, so I don't want to be negative all the time and just want to show you like what is actually running just fine. So when you're looking at the old stuff, 8-bit, 6-bit stuff, these games will run just fine. So that's pretty cool. But if it is worth picking up stuff like this, that is something you need to decide for yourself. Because nowadays, we can play these games on so many different devices. But okay, so the reason I just wanted to show you two-dimensional games between this. Of course, I don't want to be all negative all the freaking time. But when you're going to look into the three-dimensional, let's say Sega Dreamcast, you can just hear and see again the box itself struggles. And this is not an, let's say, a reconfiguration issue. This is just actually like the device itself doesn't have like not the power to run the games. Like don't get me wrong, like they are still running like okay with some part, but when it's going to get very crowded on the screen, a lot of stuff is happening. You can see like it drips in frames per second. And that is the problem when it comes to these cheap boxes. This game is okay, but some will push it to the edge and will make a lot of the games basically unplayable. You can just hear it, like it's stuttering like crazy. Okay, so let's take it a step back with the PlayStation 1. And yep, PlayStation 1 is most of the time just playable, even on cheap and low powered boxes. So that will not be the issue today. It's mainly if you're going to get a box like this and they like giving you the option to boot up, let's say PlayStation Portable, Dreamcast, stuff like that. It will not run at all, or not great. And that is I think it's a little bit deceiving. Like you're thinking you're going to get a box that plays a lot, but it basically doesn't do that because it doesn't boot up or we're going to have a lot of issues. But surprisingly you can see like some games will actually run okay when it comes to PlayStation Portable. But the same story goes when you're looking at the FPS counter. You can see like it drops all the way down to 50 sometimes. Yeah, and that is what we're going to get mostly with stuff like this. It's playable. I find it quite fascinating to see that they're even running on a device like this, but for me, if it doesn't run full 60 FPS, what's the point? Okay, so I already opened it up. It's only like clicked together. There are no screws whatsoever. The only screws that you can find are in here. And that's what we're going to remove now because I just want to like lift out the main board to see what we're going to get off the back. I just want to see when this thing has been made. And I just want to see like what we're going to get in the end. Okay, so the weird thing is like my screws are not getting loose somehow. Oh no, there wasn't a hidden one over there. I didn't see that. Ooh, look at naughty boy. Okay guys, so this is what we're going to get in the inside. 2 pieces of plastic, 3 Parkers and a PCB. Already loosen up this piece of metal that needs to be the cooling. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these things because the board is getting quite hot. Okay, so I did some removing of the thermal paste. So the board itself says the S905W. I don't know if you can read it. But in the end, like this is the same kind of chip series like the Supercon Slicks. We're going to get 2 chips at the front and at the back when it comes to, let's say, memory. Then we're going to get here the Toshiba chip. And I'm thinking this is the storage capacity, if I'm saying it correctly. But overall, there was not a lot of stuff going on with this. I was thinking to see if I maybe can find a production date whatsoever. But sadly, like there is no freaking production date or no, nothing at all. No. So we cannot like say if this thing is an old piece of hardware. It's just interesting what it can do nowadays, especially when you're looking at some retro games. Such a tiny box can basically have support for so many cool things. But again, like I'm always like concerning like when these things are like getting really hot. They're tiny, they look cool, but how good are they in the end? are they worth your money, or they're just going to be burning up after a couple of, let's say, maybe days, weeks, or months. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this PX4 game box. And yeah, well, it would be great to see you in the next video. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become a Get family, and it would be great to see you in the next video.